Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Flashpoints. I shout out to the new people that are here and who would like to like, share, and subscribe, who would like to appreciate the content, and old hats who might show up for the content. So, so. We have three stories tonight. Y'all see the moniker that you actually need to pay attention to, right? One, money is flooding into Texas. Money is flooding into Texas for Talarico. Wow. The other one, two gentlemen, Allison and doggone Tim Walz, they want to impeach him. Wow. So we got that story going. And then the third one is Mamdami. Mamdami is actually taxing the rich. When did that start happening? Well, let's get into it. Well, hello, y'all. So, here's our first piece.
Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026, and today we're going to be talking about the state of Texas and the $27 million, you heard that correctly, the amount of money raised by James Talarico in this Senate election in the first quarter. As the numbers were released this morning, a very big deal, and the most amount of money raised ever by any candidate running for Senate in the first quarter of an election year. A pretty big deal, something that really strikes me as momentum, energy, enthusiasm on the Democratic side, and something that should worry Republicans for this year's November Senate election. James Talarico raising this amount of money is something you simply cannot ignore. It breaks the record that was previously set in 2022 by Raphael Warnock when he ran and raised $13.6 million in 2022's first quarter, shaping up to be what was one of the most expensive Senate races of the entire cycle. But more than doubling it, James Talarico raising this $27 million far outraises the amount of money spent on the Republican side, and he's already outpacing the numbers raised by Beto O'Rourke in 2018 and Colin Allred in 2024, the last two times the Democrats heavily invested into a Senate election in the state of Texas. Now, for a bit of background as to why this is so notable, on the first end, the primary results in Texas really did speak for themselves. The Democrats, for the first time since 1994, James Talarico leading on the Democratic side, had more votes turning out in that election than Republicans did. Now, that is never standard. In years like 2018, when Democrats got remarkably close to ousting Ted Cruz as the senator from the state of Texas in that same election year had far more voters on the Republican primary side compared to the Democrats, despite two incumbents that were easily winning re-election, Greg Abbott and Ted Cruz on the primary side. Ted Cruz won about 1.3 million votes, but about 1.5 million Republicans turned out to vote in the Texas primary. On the Democratic side, it was far less, only about 1 million, a huge difference and a delta of about 20 points between Republican turnout and Democratic turnout. But by election day, Beto O'Rourke came within about 3 percentage points of winning this race, the closest Senate race since 1978. Now we're seeing that those numbers were flipped on their head. Democrats turned out at a higher rate than Republicans, and it was a very fascinating election because unlike 2018, when Democrats actually had a competitive primary, in 2026, Republicans did too. Races that were very competitive, races that were going to make a big difference, and John Cornyn and Ken Paxton are now facing off against each other in Republicans would like that, in May, in a way that is going to require more and more resources, more and more spending, more and more mudslinging on the Republican side, while Democrats are able to raise a crap ton of money, prepping them for the November general election.
So we got this deal going on. James Talarico just pulled in $27 million. That's not normal. That's not he's doing well. That means people across the country are looking at Texas and thinking this race might actually matter. Okay? They think this race might actually do something in Texas. That's why the money is coming in for Talarico. Now, not just from Texas, but from everywhere. Now, here's the real question. Can he turn that money into votes? Because money does not vote. People do. First thing, black voters. He's not just going to get that automatically. That's not how that works. Black voters, especially in the South, don't just go with whoever has the most money or the most attention. They want to see you show up. They want to see consistency. They want to know you're not just there during an election cycle, okay? So if Talarico builds real relationships in Texas with black voters, he has a shot. If he doesn't, that money won't matter. The $27 million that he won, it won't make a difference. Now, for the Christians in Texas, this is where he's a little different. He actually talks about his faith, not awkwardly, not forced. That helps him. But let's be honest about that. He's not flipping hardcore conservatives. He just ain't doing that. That's not happening. What he can do is pull some moderates. Some people who feel like politics has gone too far, too extreme. He could probably pull those people. If he chips away there and boosts turnout on his side, that's how this becomes a real race. But Texas is still Texas, though. People have come close before, Beto O'Rourke, X, Y, and Z, and lost. So this comes down to one thing. Can he turn momentum into turnout? If not, this is just another headline for somebody to see. Here's our next story. Walz and Ellison.
In the Minnesota House today, where they talked about the potential impeachment of Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Chief political reporter Tom Hauser was there for it all. He's live at the Capitol right now with reaction from the governor. Tom.
Yeah, and Kevin, the headline is this: the motion to move the impeachment resolutions forward failed on an 8-8 vote. All Republicans in favor, all Democrats on the committee against. Governor Walz responding today by calling the whole exercise a waste of time with so much other important work to do.
We do not have the power to arrest or prosecute for crimes, but Article 8 of the Minnesota Constitution gives the House the, quote, sole power of impeachment.
The House Rules Committee took up resolutions to send articles of impeachment to the House Fraud Committee.
Walz administration turned a blind eye in the face of countless whistleblower reports. Employees who attempted to stop the fraud were marginalized or threatened.
Governor Tim Walz is the target of one resolution, the other aimed at Attorney General Keith Ellison.
The people of Minnesota deserve to know why their Attorney General sat down with individuals tied directly to the Feeding Our Future fraud network.
We get it. We get it. You guys don't like the governor and Attorney General.
Democrats called the impeachment proceeding a political stunt.
It's embarrassing for this entire body. It's not serious.
I get it. They don't like me, but they were not elected to like me. They were elected to serve their constituents.
Governor Walz also responding to the House impeachment attempt at a stop in Rochester.
They know and I know it's more likely the sun will rise in the west than that will happen and go anywhere.
Are there better things that you could be doing with your time than pursuing this?
Minnesotans really want us to to have some accountability for the multi-billion-dollar fraud scandal.
Has Governor Walz or Attorney General Ellison been held accountable enough for the fraud that has happened under their watch?
Well, Governor Walz has chosen not to run again. Attorney General Ellison is up for re-election in 7 months, and that will be up for the voters to decide.
Well, they tried to impeach Tim Walz and Keith Ellison over a massive fraud problem. Billions of dollars, that's the issue. Republicans are saying that this happened under their watch and they didn't do enough to stop it. That's why they pushed for impeachment. Now, here's the part people get wrong. You cannot impeach somebody just because something bad happened. You have to prove they did something wrong themselves. You have to show misconduct. You have to show they ignored clear warnings or abused their position. Not just that fraud existed. Now look at what happened. An 8-8 vote. Every Republican said yes. Every Democrat said no. Every Democrat said no. That tells you everything. This case was not clear cut. If it was, you would have seen people cross over. You did not. So what happened? It failed. Didn't move forward. Didn't go to the full House. Didn't go to trial. It stops right there. Now what's next? Politics. Walz is not running again. He's done. Ellison is still in. He's still running for Attorney General again. He's up for re-election this November. So now this moves to voters. If people are upset, really upset, they'll vote him out. If they're not, he stays. That's where this is going. So we have to find out in November how this turns out for Ellison. But for now, Walz is out. Our third story.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
Wow. Okay. So now let's talk about Zohan Mamdami. He's talking about taxing the rich. Luxury properties over $5 million that people don't even live in. Sounds simple, but here's the truth. He can't just do that by himself. That has to go through the state. So right there, this is not a guarantee. Okay? This is not guaranteed. Now, the idea is this. Rich people are holding empty property while regular people struggle. So tax that and use the money for the city. That message works with a lot of people, but here's the risk. Those wealthy buyers can leave. They can sell their property and leave. That means the money goes with them. So now you're betting that you can tax them without pushing them out and for them leaving. That's the gamble. Now, how do people feel about it? Some working people like it. It feels fair. Others hear more taxes and they're already stretched. So it's split. Now, politically, tax the rich works. It always does. But if people don't see results, cleaner streets, safer neighborhoods, real changes, then it just becomes another promise. So this comes down to one thing. Can this actually work? Can Mamdami do this? Can he get the rich people to buy into it or the state to buy into it, to be voted on, I guess? It sounds good, but you got to make sure you push people to actually vote for this kind of stuff. So those are the three stories of the day. This is where we are. Big money in Texas, a failed impeachment in Minnesota, a tax plan in New York that sounds easy, but it's not. Different stories, same question. What actually turns into results? What can turn into results? Because right now, everybody's talking, but the voters are watching what certain candidates do for them. How will you make their life easier? Okay. And this is what we do on Flashpoints every night. And I appreciate you showing up. Please put in the comment section if you like the content. Please put a like in the comment and think about sharing, think about subbing, and think about liking. And I will see you in the next one.